like I said, when him and I would talk something, she would call me that she would keep me up at the police station. That's the reason we need for our child care.
Okay, can you place it in time? So you're saying at the police station, or she's doing this on the phone?
No, she's texting me. I had to block her several times.
Okay, so when did this behavior start?
Initially, this started with her threatening me in 2020.
Okay, after that
And
restraining
then
order.
after that again, I believe the last time we had an issue was she was arguing with me through text about whether or not my marriage was actually legal, which.
And I'm sorry, I wanna make sure I understand the timeline.
Okay.
So you had a restraining order in 2020.
They
Things
didn't
cooled
have-
down, right? So she wasn't contacting you. And that didn't lapse though, right? Did you have a restraining order against her?
We both have one against one. Oh, sorry. Both have one against one another. She lied and said I brought someone with a gun to her house, which I don't know anything.
Is that not still active? If it
No, they dropped it. That was during the time she was pregnant. She's already had a baby and the baby was born. Nothing has happened since then. Recently this year in April, I had.
When did they drop that restraining order?
That was 2020.
When? Like December or January or July?
I want to say in September. So it was 18 months.
So September of 2020, that restraining order was dropped, and then she started texting you shortly
Again,
after.
like 21, like around springtime.
So in spring of 2021, when there were trade-offs, when there were drop-offs, she would text you, and what would those texts say?
She would text me if I'm late and will threaten me, like.
Now be specific, so
Oh, okay.
saying threaten it is a conclusion, what specifically
Okay.
did she say?
Well, I would tell her to leave me alone, and she would talk bad about my mothering, or bad about how I did my son's hair, and I'll tell her leave me alone, and she would say, well, you're not tough. You talk like you're tough. We'll see how tough you are when I see you. And this year, while I was on my lunch break, this is around April and May, I went to a hair salon, and I was leaving the hair salon, and she was coming in, and I didn't notice her until we were really close. And
So this is May of 2021?
to this year.
May of 2020. So spring of 2021, there were text messages and things along the lines of, well, we'll see how tough you are.
Yes.
And now we're flashing forward to about a year later, May of 2022.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so now go ahead.
I forgot to mention that in between that time, that was the time she threatened to beat me up at the police station.
By text,
Yes.
correct?
And I have that in there.
And when did that happen?
In between spring of 2021 and then this year. I can't be certain.
Like around Christmas, it's your best estimate.
Yeah, around fall time, I would like to say.
So fall of 2021, she said she specifically said, I'm gonna beat you up.
I'm gonna beat your ass. I believe I have it in the
Right.
text.
But that's what she specifically said, correct? And do you have the text message? Did you print it out?
Yes, I printed it out. It's in the packet.
Yeah, go ahead and continue. So what happened next?
So in around April or May of this year, when I was leaving the hair salon on my lunch break, I walked past her. And when I left, I didn't notice until after a month later, because I told myself, well, if she continues to harass me again, that's when I will file the restraining order. But I didn't notice her text message until about a month later, because I had her phone number blocked. And during that day when we saw each other, she texted me and said, I saw you, Buster. Like, I don't want you talking that high power shit again. I don't know what that means, but that's what she said. She said, well, you saw me, don't walk away so fast like next time. And I'm sorry, there's something else that I forgot to mention. Because when things did cool down, she seemed like so eager to have an interaction with me that my son is 3 years old. He's old enough to walk on himself. That when she came to the child exchange one time, she carried my child almost all the way up to me, and to a point where it looked odd because my child was kicking in excitement. And she's holding on to him, and then one day she had to put him down. I think she's just so eager to have some type of interaction with me so she can touch me and try to fight me.
So you take this as a legitimate threat that she actually wants to engage in?
Yes.
Has she ever struck you?
No, she hit my car before. She stabbed my car, but that was back in 2020.
She hit your car before with her car, or
With her hand.
she slapped
I
you?
locked the door.
Did
Yeah.
she leave a mark?
Yeah, I took pictures of that, but my car was dirty, so.
What, did you have to take your car to the shop?
No, she didn't do any damage, it just rattled me.
So, and I'm sorry, I'm inquiring, I wanna make sure that I understand fully. So, what leads you to believe, some people engage in what we call histrionics. In other words, they always talk a big game, but they never really want to do something. You believe she actually wants to engage you, is that correct?
Yes.
And why do you believe that?
After I saw her at the hair shop and then she texted me, I didn't respond to that text message. But then the most recent, when my child's father and I were arguing about my child's hairstyle, and him and I were having a back and forth, and I can only guess that she's involving her in this because she calls me from her phone and texts me several times from her phone. That's when she threatened me. Like, oh, you're talking about my family. I don't have anything. This is between me and my ex-husband. You know, she's involving herself, and that's when okay, we'll see how slick you are.
All the threats are by telephone, right? She's had plenty of opportunities to see you face to face.
At the police station. And then the one time she didn't, I think at the hair salon, I think it was just too quick by the time she noticed. That's what she said, well, you walk too fast, don't walk away so fast next time. But I'm not gonna argue with her. I just know I have to teach to lose. To be fighting in the street.
Let me ask one more question. My indicator is to Grant, but I need to understand, does she live with your ex-husband?
Well, according to his court documents that he submitted for our divorce, he's still using his family.
Well, my concern is I don't want to step on your ex-husband's custody rights or visitation rights.
Yes. Well, that's what happened recently. He violated our custody order because of this temporary restraining order. He said he had to go to work, and so he dropped my child off at my house, which is against our order, like 4 hours earlier. She did. And my grandmother's almost at 80, and she can't watch my child, so I have to leave off of work early and go watch him when it was his responsibility. I did a police report, but I know that's child custody order, that has nothing to do with our restraining order. But she was the one who actually dropped my baby off at the house with no one valid to watch him.
Let me ask one more question. You've asked for, I believe it's the son at issue, to be a protected party as well. How is he a danger?
Well, my son tells me, babe's gonna beat your ass. Oh, not beat your ass, babe's gonna beat you up.
Not, how is he a danger?
Well, I just think it's bad parenting that you're saying that you're gonna assault his mother, and then, like, calling me a bitch. Like, she talks bad about me in front of my son.
Okay, is there anything else you think the court needs to know?
No, I just don't want to be threatened. I don't feel like I have to deal with her at all, being threatened. I know eventually it's gonna escalate. I just don't want to be involved in that.
And you understand this doesn't protect you from, well, I'm going to grant it, I'm not going to grant it as to your son.
Okay. I do believe she watches my son when he's with his dad and his dad has to work.
Okay, but she's going to be required to stay away from you and refrain from harassing you. Do you have anything else you need me to know about?
So she won't be able to come to the child pickup, yes?
If you're there, no, she will not.
Okay.
Is there any reason why she would need to?
Well, that's the only reason why my child's father said he violated our custody order, because he didn't have anybody to drop my son off in a timely manner, and she was the only one. I don't want to deal with her at all. She, like, stand postures aggressively, I don't know how to say it, crosses her arms and stares at me like it's trying to intimidate me when we do child care.
Well, this is gonna relate to her. She's not a parent, correct?
No.
So I'm gonna sign the orders as to you, but not as to the child.
Okay,
You haven't established anything clear and convincing to show that the child would be at risk. Okay?
okay,
So I'm gonna sign this. It should be available for you shortly.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's go back today. Let's go back to number 16.
Thank you, and good morning again, Your Honor. Cheryl Ferrer, on behalf of counsel for plaintiff.
Okay, let's get the, have an interpreter. If you please put your name on the record.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Cynthia Campos, Spanish certified interpreter, certificate number 300532, then verified in North file, interpreting for Mr. Ricardo Castillo.
Thank you for being here today. And this is Classic LLC versus Castillo. Mr. Castillo, can you state your full name for the record?
Ricardo Castillo.
Both reviews, both the answer and the extensive attachments to the answer. It does appear that there are, the answer and the affirmative defenses have to do with chain of title and what the defendant is asserting is a cloud on his title. I'm wondering, and it does appear as though there have been a number of unlawful detainer trials in the past that have been unfruitful. I'm wondering if the parties have attempted to mediate or resolve this issue, or if there's been any attempt to quiet title on it so that you can prove up on one side or the other who owns this property. I can ask this today first.
As to quiet title, no, I'm not aware of any actions, and the plaintiff in fact does dispute that there's any cloud on the title. I believe it's been sent over here because defendant demanded a jury trial instead of going forward in Fontana. Plaintiff is ready to have the case set for trial in early October.
Is the plaintiff amenable to any kind of mediation? Or, and the court's concern is it looks like this matter has been unlawful detainer gone to hearing a number of occasions and has been rejected because of the title issues.
May I clarify, Your Honor, were those prior cases or were they prior hearings on this case? Because I know the defendant has not appeared a few times.
These are prior cases,
Okay.
couched in terms of Casillas versus Casillas, which apparently defendant asserts is a predecessor in interest, and then another case, Ponce versus Casillas.
I see. I would think that perhaps maybe an MSC, I don't think we can get into court mediation quick enough. Or maybe it could go to settlement week if they're accepting these kinds of, those are at the end of October though. Does the court have any of the 130 MSCs available?
Well, first I want to make sure the defendant is amenable to talking about settlement and perhaps resolving some of these concerns. Sir, what's your position?
Yes, the problem has been that ever since this problem started, it's been fraud.
yo traté de agarrar información de ellos y ellos se niegan a darme la
And I
información.
tried to obtain information through them, and they denied to provide me with the information.
Inclusive el otro abogado, el otro juez que estuvo anteriormente, por eso fue la razón que a mí me escuchó lo que le expliqué.
And if it wasn't until the other judge that we had before, he was able to hear what I finally had to say.
Y él le dijo a las otras, porque eso de ella no es. O cada vez que viene alguien, viene otra persona diferente.
Yeah, and apparently he told the other attorney, because every time we've been here, there's been someone different.
Nunca es la misma persona. Como ahorita, ella mejor la primera vez que me mira a mí.
It's never been the same person. This is the first time. The lady that's here is the first time. She doesn't even know me.
Your Honor, I believe Mr. Sorry.
Pues no creo que haya una mediación, porque ellos con el otro juez lo que dijo que quería que trajeran porque tiene una travel insurance según ellos.
I don't know if there's any mediation possible, because the other judge told them that they had to bring the title.
En the title insurance.
The title insurance.
Un abogado de la title insurance que porque parecía que estaba asegurado, ellos agarraron una title insurance.
Because it seemed that it was insured or something like that, and it had title insurance.
So, Ms. O'Day, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to state, Your Honor, that actually Mr. Earl, the attorney of record, was present at the last hearing when the defendant was not. So he's been trying to connect on this case, but it doesn't seem to be effective. At this point, my suggestion would simply be to go ahead and set it for trial in early October. If we can get an MSC before then, that might be something viable.
Well, let me explore a little further with the defendant as to whether he'd be amenable to discussing resolution. If there's a cloud on the title, it appears to me that it might be best to address either by arbitration or perhaps some kind of declaratory action as to the title before moving forward.
Also, I'm sorry.
La razón de que yo no vine la otra vez fue porque yo hablé y como tenía el COVID y tenía unas cirugías, me dijeron que no tenía que ir a la corte.
They told, the last time that I didn't appear was because I had COVID and I also had eye surgery, so they told me I didn't need to appear.
Ms. Uday?
Yes, Your Honor. What I'm hearing, if there's a quiet title issue, that can't be addressed in an unlawful retainer. Defendant needs to file his own lawsuit, and until that happens, the quiet title action will be moot because the UD court can't hear that. So,
Certainly, but my concern is for judicial resources, is scheduling this for trial if it's clear that there are going to be a chain of title issues. Let's go ahead. I think it sounds to me as though plaintiff wants some trial dates and wants to continue to move this forward. It doesn't, I've not heard Mr. Casillas make a statement that he would prefer to try to resolve it. In fact, if he thinks he's the owner, I don't know why he would, unless the parties want to stipulate, stay this to have the other matter resolved either by arbitration or some kind of case.
All I want is be able to continue staying in my home because I bought it since the day, I've been living there since the day I bought it,
1996.
in 1996.
Y no hay la otra solución es que este caso se vaya a una corte más alta que se
The only solution is for this go to a higher
se
court.
tiene que vender la propiedad que se venda.
And if they have to sell that property, so be it, let it be sold.
Que el condado se haga cargo de eso, no ellos, porque ellos no son realmente los dueños. Las
And if the
personas que lo
counties-
agarraron por medio de Estado también. Y por eso es la razón de que yo quiero saber dónde está la compañía del título.
And the problem is, you know, that if the county wants to sell it, so be it, because they're not the ones interested in the rights of the interest of the property. However, you know, we don't know about all these issues with the title that they're saying. They're the ones saying it.
Y a lo que me entendí, lo que dijo el otro juez, le dijo a los otros abogados que vinieron que tenían que traer a la title company sus abogados.
And based what the other judge told them, the other judge told them that they needed to bring the attorneys of the title company.
Porque ellos fueron los que también están tan embarrados en la situación que está
Because
ahí.
they're the ones also involved in the same situation she's in.
Y el juez dio a entender que todos, como hay una aseguranza, la aseguranza tiene que hacerse responsable de sus errores también.
And the judge said, since there's also an insurance company involved, the insurance company is also to be responsible of this.
As I indicated, would be to set the trial dates, but also an intervening MSC to at least discuss what kind of options might be available.
Porque hasta ahorita ellos no me dan reporte del título,
Yeah, because I don't have a report of the title, so,
del que ellos corrieron la compañía del esto, se refieren a
whatever paperwork they ran for the company, I have nothing of that.
But sir, if it's your property, shouldn't you be able to get a title report?
como le digo al otro juez, y
Una pregunta. Usted como dueño de la propiedad no tiene que pedir el reporte del título.
yo tengo el reporte del título, y ese reporte del título no tiene que ver nada con lo que
Well, the title report that I have has nothing to do with what they're saying.
I don't want to get into the facts, I don't think it's appropriate at this point. I'm
Your
sorry.
Honor, may I approach?
Yeah, I don't, so ma'am, why are you approaching, are you a party to this case?
I am a party, I'm
Will you
representing.
come up to the?
Absolutely.
Will you state your name, please?
I'm representing Classic LLC.
I see. Okay, what's your position with Classic
I'm
LLC?
an employee. I've been attending these court hearings since, I believe, June of 2021.
Okay, and understanding this is a trial setting conference. This is not a hearing, that we're not going through evidence. To the extent we've discussed some evidence, it's just for the purposes of determining whether this case is amenable to some kind of settlement. You had something you wanted to say.
I just wanted to share the last time we did meet in front of the judge in the city of Montana, he actually made the defendant present his sister, which is clearly the person on title and the individual that sold the property. They solely had the loan.
But they said to bring the Fabiola last time, the real Fabiola that signed your
I'm
papers.
sorry, we've got someone else in the gallery, and this is not a factual dispute, so I understand what you're saying. It sounds to me like there are a number of moving parts as to facts that probably go to the chain of custody. At this point, though, okay, at this point, let's get them trial dates. When did you need, Ms. Today you were looking for trial dates in what time frame?
First couple weeks of October if available.
If it's a jury trial, we can do readiness for October 6th, and then trials will begin October 10th.
MSC would be September. If I scheduled an MSC, would you usually do that in the afternoons on Wednesdays? So let's do this. First, this is S16, but you know, I'll schedule the MSC with me. First, let's schedule an MSC or a mandatory settlement to see if there's any traction to try to get, or ideas in order to get this matter resolved or on a pathway where it doesn't look like it's going to hit road bumps on the way to a jury trial. So let's set that for September 7th at 1:30 in this department, so S17. And I will ask that I have an interpreter available. My Spanish is not as good as it used to be. So I will both parties waive notice as to that hearing.
Yes, Mike asked at the MSC.
Okay, now as to the trial, we'll set trial readiness at 10 o'clock in Department S16 on October 6th
Trial readiness will be at 8:30.
at 8:30. I'm sorry, I keep mixing it up with the court trial. So trial readiness at 8:30 in S16, with trial to continue on 10/10, so on the 10th of October. And that's at 10 a.m. Any issues with those dates? Sir, any problem with those dates?
Pues yo ahorita, como estoy viendo que ve el doctor y pues yo quiero decir, me la puedo.
Tell me last time I told her to bring the one that signed the papers.
We just need to know if these dates are correct. Is that what you're- Can you change it, the one in October towards the beginning of November, because I have a few medical appointments.
Why don't you be more specific? What is the issue with these dates?
¿Cuál es la fecha?
Ahorita estoy en un tratamiento
¿Cuál es la fecha?
y
Sí.
¿qué fecha?
¿Cuál fecha es la que tiene problema?
La de octubre, octubre 10.
October 10th is the day that I have the problem with.
Why is there a problem?
Porque me están mirando de los ojos, pues apenas me tienen, o sea, tuve un problema con los dos ojos y apenas me los están operando.
Because I have problems with one eye and then now I have problems with both eyes and now I have surgery.
No, ya me
When
hicieron la
will you be
cirugía.
recovered?
Okay.
Y ellos me dieron ahorita, tengo que estar yendo cada 3-4 semanas y tengo que ir por problemas de mi
And since I just had the surgery, I already had it, now I have to go every 3 or 4 weeks to get it checked.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna keep the trial dates for now. It's at the MSC. If for some reason there's a medical appointment that's on the books that's actually a problem, we could discuss that at the MSC. For the MSC, of the Mandatory Settlement Conference, I am going to want trial briefs beforehand, laying out what the concerns are and what the potential resolutions are, sir, so that you have to explain what you think should be the resolution, and it shouldn't just be, I think everyone should just go away. Do you understand?
Para mí la resolución es que la compañía del título tome cartas del asunto porque ellos
And the only resolution would be for them to take care of the title because they're the ones that are being the problem.
la compañía del título tiene que venir como se lo dijo al otro.
And the title
sir,
company next
Sir,
to
sir, if it's your house, the title is your problem as well. So start thinking that perhaps you might want to speak with legal aid as to how you can resolve the title problem. And what kinds of resolutions are available to you. We'll discuss that further. I will expect a settlement brief beforehand that lays out your position and what your potential resolution is.
Okay. Para que ellos me den el discovery del reporte del título, ¿por qué no me lo quieren dar?
Okay, so why don't they want to give you the title report, the one that they have?
Porque si ahí se
Why is it being so difficult?
Have you done, sir, have you requested in discovery, have you made a formal request for sort of the legal discovery process for documents?
Yo lo hice verbalmente con inclusive quiero saber dónde está el otro juez, porque el otro juez supo
I did it verbally here.
mi esposa otra vez y otra
And the
vez.
judge, where's the other judge?
Sir, I'm sorry.
That's clear.
Sir, when you represent yourself, you don't get special treatment because you don't have an attorney. There are formal procedures for requesting documents. You can confirm at legal aid, San Bernardino Legal Aid, or Inland Kent County Legal Services, ICLS, might be able to assist you. Okay, anything further on this matter?
Not on this matter, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll make sure that they get both the trial setting orders for Department of Justice. And waive notice on the dates, both parties?
Plaintiff waives, Your Honor.
Sir, you understand the dates, correct?
Aquí me
Yes, they gave you-
septiembre y uno en octubre.
One is in September, and the other one is in October.
Sí.
Octubre 10,
And the
a las
6th.
10 de la mañana.
Sí, porque aquí está
Octubre, and what's October 6th? 8:30.
That's what's called a readiness, so you have to have your trial documents, your exhibits, your exhibit list, your witness list, and everything that you need to prove to the court that you're ready to move forward with your trial. All need to be ready on that date. Do you understand?
Si quiero hacer supinas, ¿cómo le hago entonces?
So if I wanna do subpoenas and all that, what do I do?
So I can't give you advice and counsel if you're gonna have to talk to legal aid. And sir, do you waive notice on the dates, or do you need a written notice as to the dates?
Que me las manden, por favor.
Send them, please.
Por si hay un error.
I'll ask,
Your Honor, I'll have plaintiff give notice and include the trial setting order.
I I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Eso es todo, lo demás es de su
Okay, so
I would
thank
have
you
to
very
pay for
much.
virtually
Buena
everything
suerte.
because
Have
he
a good
obviously
afternoon.
just
Pase buen
missing
día.
appointments and things, but they might be able to help him and do it, okay?
Thank you. I thought the last time they said to bring Fabiola. And they never brought Fabiola, the one that they bought the house off of. Cause they know they're doing fraud.
Go ahead and call the no-shows number 10, Calvary SPV versus Stovall. This is on
That's
for
everything?
Noah C. the status of default judgment, 3.2, well, 3.740. Go ahead, and I'm gonna set this on.
Do we gotta worry about them ripping off our mailbox again?
Who could write that report?
I know. Or when they ripped off our fence. Remember? And they threatened us. Oh yeah, and then they bribed us. She knows she's doing fraud. Oh, is it this way?
Is the
Is this
elevator?
way? No, it's this way. It's right here.
Thank you.
Mm. Yeah. She said that we didn't come to court last time. We were here.
No, they supposed to come on, but something happened, I think they switched because of, what happened to the other judge?
I don't know. They changed it. They keep changing it. They keep lying and lying. The last time I told you, why didn't you tell them? They were supposed to bring in this court the Fabiola that signed that sold the house to them. That's what they were supposed to do, and they never did. Every time it comes to them trying to bring the person that signed it, they can't find her. She's gone. She's always at Superior.
We're looking at what do you mean about they should have told me everything in the house.
They don't even know what the inside looks like.
He's on the side of the judge is trying to play it and like make it seem like they try to help the lawyer.
Where's the lawyer? Where's the elevator? Is it almost there? That was crazy.